Currently, I'm working on a project involving private equity trading. Private equity trading, or trading on a private blockchain network. So I'm involved where it's an early stage project right now. I've been involved in the development of the architecture, technology choices, and essentially planning for delivery there. So that's my current focus at the moment, and its project is at quite an advanced stage and pretty much ready to kick off. That particular project, we're hoping within the next 6 weeks, I'd expect. Yeah. Technologies that excite me the most at the moment. I've always, my introduction to blockchain technology was through Ethereum and through, I guess, Solidity smart contract programming. That's where I decided to pick my entry point. What I found exciting in the meantime has been how well the tool set surrounding that has developed. When I began to work with those tools, they were quite clunky command line tools, and the development of tools, for example, Truffle, from the developer's perspective, and tools like Mithril for smart contract validation. It's fascinating to see how well they have, or how the extent to which they've advanced in a relatively short period of time. So, being a software engineer, I guess I'm quite taken by the tool set. I guess if you spoke to cryptographers, they'd take it into the client level. I guess it really depends on where you live in the stack quite often, how you get excited by things. Work continues. Again, I guess my day-to-day work is as a user of the technology rather than a developer of the client or the protocol technology. But yeah, quite a lot of work is ongoing at the client level, at the I guess the protocol implementation level. And for example, we have in ConsenSys developed a platform called Kaleido, which has, to an incredible extent, advanced the client technology, and we've been able to leverage to provide much more reliable protocol implementation. So I guess that's another thing that's quite exciting right now. I think what's happening is, from a developer perspective, there's a broadening range of entry points into the technology. I guess when I looked initially, it was very much, from a developer's perspective, a TypeScript, JavaScript world. And I guess that's changing now. There are chains out there based, on a broader range of technologies. And indeed, the Ethereum protocol itself now is now accessible through, Java, for example, and more popular languages than it would have been initially. So I guess it's going to grow the community as more people can bring the skills they already have to the blockchain world. So the main challenges I think developers face are not always technical challenges. I guess you'd expect to hear about programming idioms that could potentially be troublesome, and the adoption of design patterns to mitigate risks in implementing smart contracts, things like that. But quite often I think the big challenges start at a more abstract level in terms of understanding what it is needs to be implemented, because at an earlier stage in the project overall process, developers are having to get to grips with what's required from clients, what efforts involved, because unlike, I guess, more established technologies, the level of expertise in, say, for example, the business analyst world or the product owner world is not quite as strong in the blockchain world, because the technologies are so new, and I guess developers have to get into that part of the process earlier, and that's quite a challenge. One solution, or I think one thing we'll see happening, is that we'll see maturity calm down the whole process as I guess the broader team becomes more familiar with the particular or the peculiarities of blockchain technology, they'll become more competent at that level. And I think it'll become more established technologies in that regard. So I guess it's mitigation over time as the system settles down. Already you can see that the projects that we're looking at are commercial projects. So we're not so much looking at POCs or proof of concepts, and putting those together. And they still happen, and they will continue to happen. But a greater proportion now are engagements with clients where we're looking at production, delivery into production, and it's very encouraging. It shows that the industry has, to some extent, grown up. It's certainly the most noticeable trend from where I'm standing, and it will have its impact on the sophistication of tools and the rigor with which blockchain technology is being developed, and that's all very good for the technology, for the platforms, and for the ecosystem as a whole. Right now, I'm particularly, I guess from a personal perspective, because I have a background in software re-engineering and I'm interested in verification and validation, the Mithril project I find it's a validation of a lot of software verification research that I saw back as far as the 90s, but now we're seeing it manifest in tools because it's a commercial concern. It makes a big difference whether or not a smart contract executes properly and value is properly moved about. So to see code verification tools appear and be exercised on the blockchain in a commercial sense is very encouraging. Yeah.